Proverbs chapter 23, verses 13 to 14. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he will not die. If you strike him with the rod, you will save his soul from Sheol. This proverb teaches that love is not measured by how little discomfort we allow, but by how deeply we care about a child's ultimate direction. Discipline here is not cruelty, but rescue. The rod represents intentional, measured correction, authority exercised for the good of the child, not the relief of the parent. The proverb speaks in life and death terms to show what is truly at stake. A child left undisciplined is not merely spared pain, but left vulnerable to folly that leads toward ruin. Loving correction, though painful in the moment, redirects a child away from paths that end in destruction, what Scripture calls Sheol. The proverb acknowledges how the parent feels in the moment when disciplining their children by reaffirming that they will not die. It acknowledges how difficult this is in practice. As a millennial parent, this proverb lands as a sobering word of wisdom and instruction. Many from earlier generations who received physical discipline as children now struggle to administer it themselves, not necessarily because they were personally damaged or abused, but because others were. It has become difficult to discern, from the outside, the difference between loving discipline and anger-driven retribution, when the external form, spanking, can look the same. This is one area where I am learning to trust the Lord and His instruction rather than my own instincts or cultural assumptions. There are moments when timeouts or stern verbal direction are simply not equivalent to the level of rebellion or disobedience present, especially in a toddler. What we also have to wrestle with is what our children are being taught when we choose not to discipline. Omission is never neutral. When rebellion or disobedience is met with silence, distraction, or a light response that doesn't match the moment, something is still being formed. The child is learning that boundaries are flexible, that authority can be negotiated, and that their desires can outweigh obedience. Without intending to, we begin training the heart in folly. Over time, a lack of discipline teaches a child that love does not require restraint and that disobedience carries little cost. Patience starts to feel like permission. Grace begins to look like indifference. What feels compassionate in the moment slowly creates a distorted understanding of reality, one where actions are disconnected from consequences and authority lacks real weight. The danger is that these assumptions are formed early, long before a child has the wisdom to recognize how the world actually works. Proverbs reminds us that the home is meant to be the safest place for correction, a place where consequences are clear, measured, and motivated by love. When discipline is absent there, it isn't avoided, it's only delayed. As a child grows, unchecked rebellion will eventually meet teachers, employers, and institutions that do not share a parent's patience or care. The discipline of the world is real, but it is rarely relational or merciful. What a parent could have corrected privately and lovingly is often addressed later in ways that are public, harsh, and deeply formative in the wrong direction. At its core, this proverb calls us to see discipline as an act of foresight. It forces us to look beyond the immediate discomfort to the kind of person our child is becoming. Withholding discipline doesn't spare a child from pain. It postpones it and often increases the cost. Loving correction within the home communicates something essential. Your choices matter, authority is real, and you are worth the effort it takes to shape you toward life. Today's takeaway question is, what lessons might my child be learning through my inaction or delayed correction? If you enjoyed today's daily proverb, please like and share this with a friend. Today's daily proverb is brought to you by Sabbath Space. Reduce your screen time by 81% by temporarily blocking apps and notifications. Spend less time scrolling and more time with God and real-life connections. Download Sabbath Space today on the iOS App Store.